Blind from birth? In John 9, Jesus healed a man born blind who was about 30 years of age. This miracle occurred on a Saturday Sabbath and divided the religious right leaders of his day. The people who were offended by this miracle included the man's parents and the extremists of the Jews and Pharisee religious parties. The blind man survived by begging, and Jesus' attention was drawn towards this man by a question from Jesus' disciples. They asked, "Who sinned? The man? The parents?" Their question reveals their own deep state of spiritual blindness. Jesus answered them, "This man is born blind in order to show God's works, that is, truth and power." This miracle story first shows us the bigotry and negative conclusions of those who think circumstances tell us what God's will is. The lame, blind, and infirm are victims of the law of sin, not the act of sin. Augustine, Luther, Melanchthon, and John Calvin of the Reformation were too blind to see the first truth of this miracle. There is no original sin. There is no sin nature. Second, the fault-finding Pharisees show their own spiritual blindness. The miracles of God should not be done on the Sabbath. That is, people come second to religious acts. Jesus exposes their hypocrisy too, that is, the thinking that religious asceticism is higher than people's needs. Paul confirms this here with this scripture, Colossians 2:16. "Therefore, let no one judge you in food or in drink or in respect of a feast or of the new moon or of the Sabbaths." Finally, Jesus exposes the blindness of the blind beggar's parents. They feared shunning by the religious orthodox of the day over the truth about Jesus' identity and power. John 9:21 through 22, "But by what means he now sees, they said, we do not know, or who has opened his eyes, we do not know. He's of age, 30 years plus. Ask him, he will speak for himself." His parents spoke these things because they feared the Jews, for the Jews had already agreed that if anyone confessed that Jesus was the Messiah, he should be put out of the synagogue. Unable to refute the miracle, the religious Jews and Pharisees verbally attacked the blind man, using Scripture to justify themselves. John 9:29, "We know that God spoke to Moses, but we do not know from where this man is." The former blind man then identifies the scriptural blindness of the self-appointed interpreters of Scripture. John 9:30 through 33. The man said to them, "Why is it, seeing this miracle, that you do not know from where Jesus is, even opening my eyes? If this one were not of God, he could not do this." John 9:34. The Jews then reviled him and said to him, "You were altogether born in sins, and do you teach us?" And they cast him out. After the former blind man was cast out of the temple precinct, that is, false religion guided by blind teachers, Jesus returned to him to reward him. After being excommunicated, Jesus revealed to the former blind man his personal identity, the Son of God identity. John 9:35 through 37. Jesus heard that they had cast him out, and finding him, he said to him, "Do you believe on the Son of God?" And the blind man answered him and said, "Who is he, Lord, that I might believe on him?" And Jesus said to the blind man, "You have both seen him, and it is he who is speaking with you." Every miracle must declare the truth of Jesus' identity. The blind man not only was healed physically, but he was healed spiritually. But the unteachable pride of the seminarians, the fear of losing stature in human relationships within the church world, and the misguided reteaching of sin nature and divine retribution for sin are all identified as spiritual blindness by Jesus. When we are cast out of blind-guided churches, it will be for the miraculous spiritual healing we gain upon seeing who Jesus really is. John 9:40 through 41. And those of the Pharisees said to Jesus, "Are we also blind?" Jesus said to them, "If you were blind, you would have no sin. But now you say, 'We see,' therefore your sin remains." In summary, the identity of Jesus is clearly shown in this miracle, this parable. He is Messiah and the Son of God. After all, this is the confession of Romans 10:9 through 13, Matthew 16:16, and Acts 8:37.